Does anyone have anyone in the audience have any comments? If you would come forward, state your name and address and phone number, please. If we have no comments,
Tom Drew is not here today.
that's what I was referring to with the say 4 minutes. We got to laugh about something. If there is no public comments, public comment session closed. Mr. Daugherty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do want to give you all an update on our mobile dental unit. You know, I know we haven't heard much on this. We have acquired the mobile dental unit, and we have sent that off for a rehab. That rehab is taking place. They have completed that. The unit is actually doing a rehab on the outside, and I have on my phone what that looks like, and I think you all are going to be extremely excited about that. But our director at the health department has given me an update this morning. We are expecting that unit to be back here in Goldsboro from Columbus, Ohio at the end of March. So at the end of this month, that should be back here. We are going to set that up at our facilities building and allow that to be there for about 60 days. Of course, we are not at this point going to implement that in this school year, but beginning next school year, you're going to find this mobile unit is going to be made available in a number of our schools throughout the county. Currently, the schools that have had the upgrade necessary to bring that would be Brogdon Primary, Culver Elementary, and Northeast Elementary. So 3 schools have already had the upgrades, the connections for the utilities, the power, as well as the water and the sewer. We're having to do those upgrades to allow that mobile van to go from school to school. Again, I stress to you that this is a major undertaking that this board has agreed to, and I commend you for it, because it will bring a much better, healthy environment for our students in our schools. Your mouth and your teeth are very important to your health, and so we look forward to that. As been already mentioned, we did hold our spring transportation committee meeting that was held on February the 27th. Not only did we get a number of updates regarding transportation improvements, but we also had this very informative presentation from Stephanie Ayers. She is the Director of Planning and Development with the North Carolina Ports Authority. This board has recognized how important these ports are to Wayne County, and we have got to improve our connections to the port. I got an email yesterday regarding the improvements for the refrigeration units that are going to be, and the facilities that are going to be built at our Wilmington port. Why is that important to Wayne County? I see a gentleman sitting out there in the audience, and he knows the importance of that, and that is that will allow us and our farmers in our community to actually provide shipment to the port in Wilmington to ship overseas. Vegetables, our facilities in regards to our swine, just a number of things that will happen and improve sending out exports that are produced here in Wayne County and throughout eastern North Carolina. Our trip to Washington was a big success. There I attended several seminars regarding transportation, technology, and infrastructure improvements. You know, a lot of people may criticize our trips out of town, but how can we get new information in regards to how we can improve our county unless we attend these seminars? we see firsthand how other counties are addressing issues that we're facing in today's economy. I appreciate the help on I-795. As Commissioner Pate discussed, he was there talking about ag. I was there talking about I-795. Senator Burr and Congressman Holdings' offices specifically we are reaching out to them, and they are stepping up to the plate and helping us with the improvements of I-795. The MPO has begun a process of updating the Metropolitan Transportation Plan. Now, this plan will cover the MPO, which includes Goldsboro, Pikeville, Walnut Creek, and almost 50% of Wayne County. The plan will be asking for public input with a completion date of August of this year. If you have any input on adding a road or a highway, improving traffic flow, or any improvement on transportation in Wayne County, please let me hear from you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Doherty. Mr. Cromartie.
Yes, sir. I would like to begin my report by letting you know that our most previous library meeting was held in Mount Olive, and as part of that, we took a tour of the Steele Memorial Library, and it's come along excellent. I just want to say to the commissioners again, you made a great investment. Your vote gave a great investment to Mount Olive and the southern part of Wayne County, and quite honestly, some of Dukeland too, because they're going to be coming over using that library. If you get a chance to ride by, they said a picture's worth 1,000 words, and being able to see it is worth a lot more than that, because the aesthetics of it is going to floor you just based on what I've seen so far. It is going to be a beautiful building, and I know once they get all the scrubber and everything in, it's going to be a very awesome site. So for everybody who's and all of us are interested in libraries, but you know there's some people that's more interested than others. So I say to you, you have something to be very proud of. This is not part of my library, my committee reports, but I would like to mention that on that very afternoon, the 21st, I had an opportunity to attend the Carver Alumni Banquet in Mount Olive. That's a very important function to a great segment of people who graduated from Carver alumni, from Carver School in Mount Olive. And the following day, there was a parade that my colleague, Mr. Bell, and I had an opportunity to be involved in. Later that afternoon, that was a busy day. Later that afternoon, I did have an opportunity to go to the Human Relations banquet held in Goldsboro. And every time I go there, I am amazed at the talent that those young people have and the things that they will do. Everything from jumping rope to singing to other things that as old folk like us, we can't do anymore, but it's a sight to see, and it's a lot of fun. I would also like to share with you all that I had an opportunity to go to the most recent Mount Olive Airport meeting, and it was held out at the airport. And I would like to say to you all that Mount Olive is very proud of their airport, very proud. And I want to continue to say that as we put in dollars to improve the opportunity for economic development, that airport is going to be an integral part of that whole environment. And they do have, I believe, bragging rights that up to now, they are the only ones that had the governor to land at their airport. So I just wanted to throw that in. It's just a little aside for Mount Olive. I also had a chance to, and Mr. Daugherty, I attended the meeting, your transportation meeting out at Landry, and the young lady who gave that presentation was just a fantastic presenter. I want to congratulate you on bringing her in, and then of course pay some homage to her for coming up doing that. There was only, everything that you see great, it's all in one pullback. What I found out in that meeting, and this is not throwing any stones at anyone that had an opportunity to do something a long time ago, But North Carolina, and I hope we don't miss the boat again, but North Carolina sort of looked like they missed the boat when it was time to get in on the ground floor with Virginia at Norfolk and then at Savannah, because the way she gave the report, the ship might have already sailed for us to get the great advantage. So I ask everyone that's listening to try to make sure that we don't miss any other opportunity. And that might mean that we take every opportunity to contact our representative in Washington, D.C. And if anybody has a opportunity to talk to the president, Mr. Bell, I wish someone would do that, because, we can't ever tell when our next opportunity might just be sitting there and we didn't recognize it because we were not looking. But that was a great meeting you had out there, Mr. Daugherty. Thank you very much. That concludes mine, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Marty. Well, most of the subjects that I've been involved in has already been covered. Just a couple. I've met several times, had conference calls with OES on the upgrading the radio system and enhancement of the radio system. And they're making progress, but the weather has not cooperated. So we're making progress, but it's not quite as fast as what we had hoped because of the weather. Also, I attended the trip in Washington, D.C. also. Just want to hit, I met with Representative Holding. One of his main concerns was the well-being of Wayne County with the passing of our sheriff, and we assured him that our county was in good hands now, that we had not skipped a beat. But that was one of his priorities, was to wanting to know how Wayne County was doing, because he was Kerry was a dear friend of his. Thank you, Larry, for carrying on the process. George, thank you for taking care of the last weather situation. I didn't have to handle that one, so thank you and the staff for taking care of it. Also, March the 18th, the Firemen's Association has their monthly meeting, and I do not know what station it's at this month. Mel, do you know? It's Austin. It's Austin Fire Department.
I encourage everybody to go.
And that's all I have on my comments. Anyone else have anything that they forgot to mention? Okay, move on to unfinished business. Detention center has been added to unfinished business. Mr. Wood, Mr. Bell.
Mr. Chairman, I spoke with House members last week and Senate members and members of General Assembly other than those, and it looks promising that they can convey that property that the prison was on. We haven't gotten notice yet, but one part of the notice that we have gotten is that it's surplus property within the state, and no one wants it. That is a state authority, goes through the council, and asking them to convey that to us. I would like to have this board to send another letter, an official letter, to all of our House members and Senate members and to the governor in reference to our resolution that this board approved in order to move forward. The minutes that were not approved today, of course, indicated that in those first minutes that we're in waiting. As you will see in the budget amendments today, we can't afford, repeat, Wayne County cannot afford to continue to be in waiting. So whatever it takes from this board, Mr. Chairman, to just in this discussion phase of old business, is that we need to continue doing what we're doing, stay focused and not get distracted on other properties. We know what we want. We've discussed it. We've sent a resolution to the General Assembly. We want them to act. And we want them to act now because, again, we cannot afford, as you will see today, we cannot afford to continue to wait. that's just my comments on this unfinished business. I would certainly welcome other comments from board members. Mr. Chairman, thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor.
It's Chairman of the Facilities Committee. I know that the reason that our purchasing director, Noel Woods, the interviews that we did on the design and the possibly, what do you call it, Ms. Wood? Yeah, the feasibility study, that has been done, but the reason it hasn't moved any further is because we're waiting on the state to convey the property. We're sitting on go. What we're doing is we're waiting for the state to go through all, whatever they do, and I understand that there's several, the whole state, other departments have an input as to whether they want this or not. We've had several calls, and I will not go into detail about what some of the institutions in the state wanted to use this facility for. But I understand now that list is no longer there. There's not anyone else at this time that is asking for this detention center. So we're waiting on the word that we have possession of it. We are sitting on go in Wayne County. We're ready to move forward. We cannot afford, as Mr. King is saying, we can't afford $70 million for a new jail. We're a whole lot better off to put 20 to 30 if we have to in this facility. But the key is that we are on top of it. And you know, as I've been told by one legislator, just keep in mind, government works slow. So we're just going to have some more patience. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Daugherty.
Mr. Chairman, I would ask that in writing this letter, encouraging the transfer of the property, that we also include in that a request for an exemption on the property from being brought up to the requirements of a jail facility. And it's my understanding that that is possible. The requirements of operating of a prison unit are different and less involved than operating as a jail. And as we toured that facility, we saw a great deal of expense that we would be bearing by upgrading the facility to jail requirements. So I would ask that in our letter that we request that the property be exempt from the jail requirements. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Daugherty, thank
Mr. Chairman.
you. Mr. Bell.
All due respect, Mr. Daugherty, I think we need to get the sheriff department involved in whether or not, what type of jail and what type of facilities. Now, I can tell you this, the jail commission is not going to allow you to use that facility as a prison and use it as a permanent jail. You can use it probably as a temporary jail, but not as a permanent fixture. You're going to have to upgrade that jail to meet the jail standards. Am I right, Mr. Sheriff?
Yes, sir, I think you're right.
Right, okay. So, if we're gonna do the jail, this is me as an individual, if we're gonna do a jail, let's fix it like we want it to be, that we don't have to go back 4 or 5 years from now and redo it again. Let's make it a jail, so we can, be finished with that. That's just, your point is well taken, I understand where you're going with it, but, I'm for doing it right. And I think we need to definitely in charge, see that the sheriff department is very well involved so they can tell us how. And I know they don't want direct supervision, the way it's set up now. And there's a lot of things involved in making the jail safe for the people that work there. So let's get with them. And we've already done that, not with the present sheriff, but with the former sheriff, and talked about the way that thing should be built. So those are some ideas that I think we should look into before we add that to the letter or whatever we're going to write to the state.
Mr. Chairman, can I add something?
Yes, sir, Mr. Wood.
I think the department that's going to handle this won't be the one that would rule on whether or not you can have an exemption. So it may be premature at this point. What I would suggest is you go ahead and get the property. And then when you get your architect in, obviously the requirements in hiring your architect is we want someone well experienced in handling jail facilities in North Carolina. Because they will know all the rules and regulations that we have to comply with in running a jail. At that point, that would be the best time to determine, in my view, whether or not we want to get an exemption and exactly how we want to proceed with it. But we have the guidance of a group that knows the rules and regulations, also with consultation with the Sheriff's Department and jail administration here. So, because I don't think the people who regulate jails and would give you that exemption are going to be involved necessarily in the transfer of the property.
Mr. Darty.
It's my understanding in speaking with Representative Dixon, that in fact, it's going to have to take an action of the legislature. And that has in fact happened in prior occurrence, that in that wording on that legislation, that the exemption is allowable if it's in the legislation. Now, why am I asking for that? I'm not saying that we are not wanting to upgrade it, but at least it gives us flexibility that the exemption would be there. It may be that we want to use that temporarily for misdemeanors, as an example, and budget that over several years in regards to upgrades versus doing it all at one time. But it gives us flexibility if we have it in the legislation. And it's my understanding these letters were going to legislators and to the governor. So I would just like the flexibility in there, and that's the reason I was requesting it. Thank
So
you.
what you're requesting then is that it would be in the legislation transferring the property?
That's correct. That's correct. Which would give us the flexibility of future upgrades to jail standards, but at least we could operate it currently. Because as Commissioner Keene indicated, we're about to see a budget amendment that we cannot afford to continue paying these large sums out. So if we have the exemption, we could almost operate it on an immediate standard, maybe for misdemeanors, not for the full transferring everybody from the jail over to it. But we could operate a portion of our prisoners there, and then look at the studies and the upgrades to take place over a period of time. I'm just looking for flexibility. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I had the opportunity to run into Mr. Hines, who was the superintendent out there, and I'm going to cover everything you just covered, but that was his suggestion to me. And he said he talked to the former sheriff about this, about operating that with a misdemeanor population, which will require very little upgrade in the beginning. And then, of course, you know, you can keep the tougher cases over here in the jail you've got here. And that would save us those dollars, and that would bring us some flexibility. Again, I want to see the upgrades too, but we can still do this in a step process instead of, you know, allocating all this money at one time. And that's just an option, and I think the flexibility in that is a reasonable request. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Pate. I want to back up just a minute. When we were giving our commissioners' comments a while ago, or committee reports, I did fail to mention one. We had a meeting with Judge Jones, sheriff, DA, attorneys, jail staff, assistant DAs, out at Lane Tree last week. Yeah. And they really, I learned a lot on the effort that all of the different agencies are trying to work together to speed up the process in the courtroom and to keep as many inmates out of the jail as they can. And I just want to commend everyone that was at that meeting on an outstanding job that they're trying to do. It's very complicated, and it's hard for them to make all the pieces fall together at the right place. But they are working on it. Anyone else have anything on this? Mr. King, do you? You want to formally make that in a motion?
Yes, sir.
Form of a motion?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I just moved that we go ahead and ask Mr. Wood in reference to this to get with Board and Park, our council, and you, Mr. Chairman, and formulate a letter that we send it to the General Assembly and to the Governor's office. And in reference to the need of acquiring that property to move forward with a jail facility or with a incarceration facility, or, Mr. Bell, what do you want to call it?
Detention center.
Or detention center, and the Kerry Winters Center, or what, that's what we told Sheriff Winters to name it after him. But however, Mr. Chairman, that I think we've said enough to put together a motion to at least get some letters or letter in that format. There's been a lot of discussion. That's why I asked for it to be brought up in unfinished business, is just to get it out on the table again so we can move forward with it.
Now, are you including the request for an exemption for meeting the jail standards, if we so choose?
Commissioner Daugherty suggested, and then Mr. Bell, Commissioner Bell. So to answer your question, Mr. Wood, whatever's going to enhance any part of this to make it all happen, whether it happens in 6 months or a year, but.
We can request the exemption, because I see what you're talking about. If this is going to be passed by legislation, there's no reason we can't request that it be put into the legislation, and that gives us the option of doing it. I just wanted to make sure we didn't pull the trigger on doing it until we had discussed it with our architects. But I understand what you're saying about if we can get the flexibility, then that gives us the options, particularly on possibly this misdemeanor issue, pretty straightforward. So
And
unless y'all object, we would add that to the letter.
And
I'm
a follow-up.
assuming the letter would also go from Wayne as the chairman.
Yes, sir, but as a follow-up to that discussion part and getting this formulated, their short session starts in May, General Assembly, and it's going to be short. And they're not going to put a lot of local bills in here and tag, but it's possible that this could be tagged. And if it's tagged with a bill, which they do it all the time, but it's certainly something to get ready for if it's going to use the General Assembly process.
Okay.
Mr. Donner, is that correct?
Yes,
in your mind?
yes.
Okay.
We'll have it out by the end of the week.
Mr. Bell, do you have something?
Well, yes, the reason I object to the language that Mr. Doherty want to inject is because we have not even consulted with the sheriff department. There's a lot more to running the jail than just, locking the doors. So they need to tell us what it is that they need before we ask for these exemptions, because, I know direct supervision is a major problem with sheriff and law enforcement. Nobody wants to be locked up in a jail with 100 inmates, just one individual, in an open bay type thing. Then there's a lot of stuff out of that Wayne Correction Center that I do know, and I'm pretty sure law enforcement will tell you that, like the sinks and all the toiletries and all that kind of stuff will have to be replaced. You can't use that stuff. Prison department, there's no problem, but in a jail, I can imagine what would happen if you have those type of items in an open bay or in an open toilet or whatever. So there's a lot that we need to discuss before we ask for an exemption, that I would not want to put the law enforcement, the sheriff department, into that predicament, trying to go out there and operate a jail without their input.
Sure. Mr. Mayor.
I just had a question. You just made a report on a meeting out at Lane Tree.
Yes, sir.
Was there anybody at that meeting from facilities? Is Milford Smith, the facility director, or the facilities committee going to have a part of the detention center? I'm just wanting to get a clarification.
I was the only one there, and Mr. Wood was there.
Commissioner Mayo, this had more to do with the day-to-day operations of the facility.
Okay.
and moving the court cases and things like that, because the courts impact us on how quickly we move the cases, the district attorney's office, the judges, the state prison system, how quickly they can get a space in state prisons. As y'all know, the state prison system has been closing state prisons, and what that's done is essentially backed up a lot of prisoners, people who have already been sentenced. They're having to serve more time in county jails throughout the state of North Carolina until a cell frees up in a state prison. So that's part of what's driving the problem in Wayne County. It's driving it in all 100 counties. But as far as the facilities themselves, I think there's been good cooperation. I've had my meeting with the sheriff, and they've indicated they're getting good cooperation on facilities maintenance. But by my being at that meeting, if something comes up specifically about facilities, then we would bring Milford into it. But this really had more to do with processing the cases, getting them through the system.
Right.
And on out, and whether or not we can do bail and pretrial diversion, things like that. Anything we can do to minimize the utilization of the jail.
Okay, thank you for that.
Facilities was not mentioned at all in the meeting. It
Okay,
was
thank you
like-
for that clarification. I wasn't aware of it, and it's not to upset the apple cart here, because we're all in this together.
Right.
Trying to make this happen. So I just appreciate the clarification. Thank you.
Okay. And I'd also like to comment, Mr. Wood, be your responsibility to draw up the letter. I mean, if you need to talk to the sheriff or counsel, whoever you need to consult with to draw up the letter, I think it'd be appropriate just let you, do that, and I think you'd have the blessings of the rest of the board to, consult with who you need to get the letter drawn up. I have a motion on the floor for Mr. Wood to send a letter to our representatives. Any other discussion?
Point of clarification.
Mr. Daugherty?
Would that letter include the exemption request?
Knowing the situation, yes, sir. Knowing the situation in the General Assembly right now and the conversations I've had with elected officials in Raleigh, yes, sir.
Mr. Wood, just, draw the letter up and we'll move forward. Any other discussion?
One real quick one, and I hate to do it, but I'm not trying to get in the weeds, but to help Mr. Wood not to get caught in the crosshairs, we are not trying to get into the jail business. It's just that we have to fund it. Exactly what's happened with education. We're not educators. We're commissioners, Mr. Wood, and already you're seeing some muddying of the water with possibly muddying of the water. I'm not going to say we are there yet. Possibly, because I think this board is trying to use its clout in Raleigh in order to get this done, this quick, this time, and to do whatever we have to with the sheriff's department in order, and the judges, to get this expense that we're getting ready to see here within the hour, to get it reduced where we can start spending more money in schools and put it in classrooms so they won't end up in jail. So, and family planning. So there's a lot of things that we're doing here, but I would like to say, Mr. Chairman, that in no way we're trying to get into the sheriff's business or the jail business. We're just trying to get it funded, get the property conveyed through the General Assembly, whatever means it takes, so we can move forward. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else?
And Mr. Chairman, if I
Mr.
could
Daugherty.
clarify that a bit. We've got several sheriff's department here. I want to make sure you understand, we're not saying that we want to to absolutely exempt this from an improvement to the jail facility. We want the flexibility. That's all we're asking here, is to have the flexibility, so that once we get the property, we can then reach out to get some estimates on the improvements. And if those estimates could be extremely high. And so we may have to have a fallback position. So We just want to make sure we've got as much flexibility here as possible. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone else? Have a motion on the floor. All in favor, show of sign of right hand. All opposed? 6-1. Madam Clerk. Moving on to new business, we did get Agriculture Day presentation. Mr. Johnson, Mr. Odom, I think y'all got a presentation.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for allowing us to come to you today. I'm excited. I want to introduce to you J.R. and Emily Odom. They are two of our young progressive farmers in the county, and them, along with several other agriculture entities in the county and businesses, have joined together for an exciting opportunity.
I get to talk first. As he said, I'm Emily Odom. This is J.R. Odom, and we have Odom Farming Company. We're located in the Rosewood area. We have an agritourism farm. We have a strawberry farm in the spring. We're fixing to get started with those. We worked on those yesterday. We do a vegetable box program for 20 weeks through the spring and summer. In the fall, we have a pumpkin patch and a corn maze. So what we mainly try to do is bring people to the farm. We're trying to get people back on the farm, let them come have fun, run around, get dirty, go home, take a bath. So, and part of the reason why we wanted to do this program was because what we saw with field trips that we have out on the farm, that children really are kind of disconnected from the farm. They don't really understand where their food, where their clothes are coming from. And so that's what we try to do on our farm, is to educate kids, educate parents. And part of that is how we got started with the idea for this event.
We understand that, like my wife said, that Wayne County, our biggest industry is agriculture. And we're very lucky to have a board that's committed to agriculture. And we really, really try to facilitate education of agriculture in Wayne County. People, the citizens are really disconnected on what a farm is and what we're all about. We're trying to disconnect ourselves from new tractors and new trucks and put the emphasis on education of what we do on a daily basis. And we've been searching a venue to do this, and we recently started Wayne County Young Farmers group through the Farm Bureau. Young Farmers and Ranchers, and the purpose behind that is to do that. It's an educational group to facilitate putting education on and advocacy for agriculture together. And so we put that group together, and we wanted to have a service project. And that's when we kind of come up with the idea. I know I participated when I was in school with FFA. We had a program at Cherry Farms, and something very similar to what we're doing. And so we're trying to showcase agriculture. We're going to have 12 different stations, and that's going to be from the scope of row crop farming to livestock. We tried to bring in ornamental horticulture, the whole gamut for Wayne County. And go ahead, I'll let you look at me.
So it's basically, like you said, we're just going to have 12 topics ranging from all of kind of agriculture you might see in Wayne County: row crops, honeybees, forestry, produce, livestock, definitely, because kids just love to see animals. So we're going to have all that there. All the second graders in Wayne County are coming out. So there's going to be around 1,500 kids out there that day, coming in two groups. Yeah, I know. So it's kind of driving me a little crazy. But they're all going to come out, and we're going to send them through the thing. And when they go home, they're actually going to get a lunch box that they're going to carry home to their parents. It's going to be filled with information. We've got some seed packets going in there, some fun things for them to do when they get home. And the teachers are going to get flash drives with lesson plans that are related to Common Core that they can carry back to their classroom and hopefully implement agriculture in their daily lessons, whether it's math or whatever, because you really use everything when you're a farmer. And we have some flyers here and some letters inviting you guys to come out and some explanations about what we're doing. And, you want to-
And we also, we couldn't do this without the partnership with Farm Bureau, Cooperative Extension. They've been a very big role. Forestry Association, North Carolina Cattlemen's Association, North Carolina Pork Council, Sweet Potato Commission, Cherry Farms, and Wayne Community College. We've just been really lucky to get, we wanted to bring in everybody in agriculture in Wayne County and bring them, and let's all have a voice and talk and, bring out the good things. And like I say, we'd love for every one of y'all to come and be a part of it that day.
It's going to be March 21st.
March 21st.
We have a group coming around 8, and we have a group coming around 11:30. So it's going to be a busy day.
Okay, one question. You say second graders.
Yes.
Is that all the public school and the private schools?
Not the private schools. It's our first year doing it. We're hoping it's going to become an annual event, and hopefully next year we can kind of add some more private schools, maybe some homeschool children will get an opportunity to come as well.
Okay. Mr. Payton.
First of all, I want to thank you guys for doing this. This is so important for our kids to learn about agriculture. The days when we grew up, this board up here, most of us worked on the farm every summer. That doesn't happen anymore. And the kids think that all the food comes from Food Line and that kind of thing. And this educational component is just another example why we need a up-to-date agriculture center in Wayne County. But I appreciate you guys allowing the kids to go out to the farm itself too. But I don't know what more I can say. Thank you so much. I'll be there.
Good.
What do you mean working on? What do you mean working on?
Great idea. I mean,
It's all my life, son.
our kids today really don't understand where food comes from, other than Farm Fresh or wherever. I mean, they really don't understand it. So it's just a great idea. I don't know who came up with it, but just great. The other thing that I'm encouraged about, and that is young people getting involved with agriculture. That's imperative because, I believe I was at a farming group where they were turning around saying that the average age of our farmers in Wayne County is on up there. It's in my age group. And we need more young people involved with agriculture if we're going to sustain agriculture. So thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a great thing that you're doing. My back still hurts when I think about priming tobacco on the ground. We didn't have harvesters when I came along. But, that's one of the things that's missing, has already been said. But I think one of the things that's missing of kids not working on the farm is discipline. Our kids are missing out on making their own way and working their own way. And I learned discipline on the farm. And so I see a lot of that missing in our society. So as part of that, hopefully we can encourage our young people to go into agriculture, or when they see this, they may see another part, because agriculture is multifaceted. You can go into labs, you can do anything, scientists, whatever. So I appreciate you doing what you're doing. My daughter-in-law is from Cove City, and they're in the dairy business, and they're doing the same thing. They're bringing kids in from all over the counties, neighboring counties, and bringing them in and showing them what dairy farming is all about. So it's a matter of education, and thank you so much for what you do.
Anyone else?
Yes, sir.
Mr. King.
Just one comment is I appreciate you too, but most of all, I appreciate you to help other young farmers, to encourage them to use the resources that you have tapped into already. The resources that you named a while ago, in this county, the young farmers have an opportunity to use something that a lot of counties don't have the ability to do. We have seen on this board to fund agriculture in a bigger way this year and last year with row crops and livestock and helping the extension officer and Mr. Johnson. I just appreciate you having the initiative to have the vision to use the resources. So many people have those resources that they don't use them. But I just admire you for doing that. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Kabari.
where is your farm located?
We're located on Claire's Nursery Road, just west of Goldsboro.
Okay.
If you're headed on 70 west.
I just want to make sure, because I talked to you once before.
Yes,
At
sir.
a meeting someplace. I just want to make sure we
Yes, sir.
on the same page. I want to congratulate you also. Having been a farm boy a long time ago, it's a growth thing for a child to be able to see all aspects of how one can make a living. I found it very interesting in our last Farm Bureau meeting. It's not that there's a absence of jobs, it's an absence of people who know how to, or know that they can fill those jobs. And I think there may be just a disconnect from the school system to the real life out there. And thank you for, and sometimes we do have to start at the lower grades. But I could just imagine that if more young people could see the positive aspects of working on a farm. I proudly say I've joined the ranks of the farmers. I purchased a small farm down in Duplin County, and about 2 weeks ago, a young man helped me to reclaim some of the land that had been farmed by the previous gentleman that he had to go in with a bush hog. And I just want to say to you, I can only share with you the feeling of farm ownership. I got a chance to ride down there, and there was no more of a peaceful environment. That's when I got out of my truck, and I stood there and looked at all that 17 or 18 acres that I plan to put into hay this year, if I can figure out how to do it. I might resemble that guy on TV a long time ago who didn't know anything about farming. But it's such a novel idea. I just want to add my 2 cents worth in there. I think it's a great idea. Introduce it to as many children as you can, at as high a level as you can, up the grade level. I mean, it's so important. Thank you.
Just a question, how do you plan to bring the kids in and different times, or, I mean?
Yeah, we're actually gonna stagger them. Half of them will come that morning, and we've worked with the school system to implement that and get get all that together.
We don't have an official schedule yet, but they're gonna work it out with their buses and the times that the schools take in, and then they're gonna rotate
If you
through
could
the
let us know,
schedule.
because I like to really be there when the kids get there. 'Cause that's-
Right now, from what we're saying is, it'll probably be 8:30 or 8:45 at the earliest when they get there, but they'll be there from then till 2:30.
If you get the schedule, if you let Kevin know, he'll let us know.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
And again, I appreciate it. This is how we grow our next generation of agribusiness leaders, and this is the way you start it.
Well, we really felt like that. You start at the foundation there, start kids. You know, if they carry something home with them, carry items home with them, well, their parents will be touched by that in some form or fashion, as long as, and just continue that on. And we want this to be an annual event, so.
And also saying to what Mr. Cromartie was saying, we're touching also the FFA students, because they're the ones that are actually going to be speaking at these stations. We're having all the FFAs from Wayne County and then a group from Goldsboro as well coming out. And so they'll get opportunity to learn and lead as well, so.
Anyone else? JR, Emily, Kevin, thank y'all for your presentation, and look forward to being there.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. King?
I'd like to ask for a 5-minute recess, please. Mr. Jones is here with East Point. Very, very busy man, as you'll see. But if he'll just allow us Mr. Chairman, 5
Okay, I need
minutes.
to make one announcement before we break right quick. I need to clarify something. The Firemen Association meeting is not at Sawston, it is at Eureka. And I needed to make that announcement before
What was that date
12, the 18th.
18.
But it's at Eureka Fire Department, it's not at Sawston. Thank
Time
you.
of the day is it?
They eat at 7 and the meeting is 7:30. And they usually feed pretty good. Barbecue. 5-minute break.